The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive.
Welcome back, everybody, as we prepare for the second series of the day, Disguise versus FlyQuest Challengers, two teams very close to each other in the standings, and now joined maybe by Maryville, because I want to take a little bit more time to dissect what just happened before. Mazel, this is a huge for the collegiate team to be picking up all these wins against some of the teams at the top of the standings.
And keeping their 50-50 there as well.
Yeah.
The triumphant comeback after a 1-5 start, it feels good. You hear the confidence being built up by the players themselves, and that's the kind of stuff you love to hear.
And they just 2-0'd FlyQuest Challengers down here below, who's now up against Disguised, who are ahead of them in the standings based on how the first round robin went. All the standings for this weekend going into it are from every team playing each other once. It actually kind of slots us into expectations going forward. Now we have the conversations of how do we improve. So Cubby, when we look at Disguised, have we seen improvement from the start of the split to this point, or are we still just kind of identifying how the team is playing right now?
Honestly, I think that part of how this series goes, like, we'll start to see that, like, how much they've actually improved. Because Sky's schedule this past week was not hard.
Yeah, the easy week for
Yeah, it was the easy week for Disguise. So I think the FlyC are a lot more stiff competition for Disguise. It was a split when these two teams met the first time in the first week. And so we have a good chance to see how each team has grown going into this matchup today.
Yeah, I love to see the rematch itself, but also Disguised on their journey of trying to be that 2-0 team. You hear from them all the time. And it's something that they're trying to build towards, trying to find that consistency within themselves, the consistency that a majority of members showed a lot last split.
Picked up a couple, and now they're against a team, FlyQuest Challengers, who have been struggling to even pick up one win here and there. I mean, they've been getting 0-2'd a couple of times, and this is a roster that we have expectations for as well. They started off strong. We do still believe that they can bring it back, but when we talk about the first round robin, it's about identifying the play style. I think that they still need to get comfortable with how they want to play around everybody together. I think Yuji's had a couple of hit or miss games. Even Masu, some games he's popping off. Some games it feels like he didn't really do much of that time around. So obviously pressure for a lot of new players, but we kind of identified something along the way, because one of these teams, yeah, maybe not peaking. I don't want to say peaking for Disguised, but they are towards the top of the standings, and they're hitting their stride, whereas FlyQuest are taking a little bit of a dip. What did we call it for Disguised? The 1-1 curse, was it, Mazel?
Yeah, you know, there was some cursing happening, and I had to put together a little bit of thought process for this one, because FlyQuest went from having success to running straight into the witch's pot and getting cursed here potentially. As I just love the face. It feels so representative, but it is looking for consistency, trying to find those positives for FlyQuest when they are potentially looking at a long-term curse.
I like the idea that they're looking at their past success from week 2.
Yes.
Like, no.
And they're just
we don't
running
want that.
ahead into the distance.
We want the 2-4 week, which is how their last weekend, of course, closed out. But they might be picking up the curse right now. But Disguised, they've done a good job of breaking it so far around. I believe that you have a second.
I do, and the witch is angry in this one. All right, the witch was hiding behind the pot, and the curse was being made. DSG kept asking for 2-0s. They couldn't find it. They couldn't do it. They got one every split, every weekend. But they wanted consistent 2-0s. And then now they find 2 in a row. Maybe the curse is lifted. The savior dove has come for Disguised.
I really struggle to understand how your brain works, but it is beautiful to watch it unfold live on broadcast.
Aren't witches known for curses?
You know, yeah. So they're now I get it. The lore. They're leaving the cauldron. The cauldron is the curse. They just
ran out of the cauldron. The dove is coming to save them.
Right. There we go. Okay. So FlyQuest is running into the cauldron curse.
You made it. You have
Disguised
arrived.
is running out. I'm caught up. Okay. Thank you.
You have arrived.
Thank you. Happy to arrive here with you. Well, let's take a look at how they've been playing so far from both teams' perspectives.
Yeah.
FlyQuest Challengers, if there's one thing that I can say, it's that they commit to the bit, Cubby.
Yeah, for better or worse sometimes, you know. We've seen some interesting moments from FlyQuest. I know that I was going over these games yesterday, and I feel like that series against Maryville, they had 2 games in a winning position, but sometimes they push a little bit too hard. As this is a 1 game, they ended up losing this game to Maryville, as they just go for 2 plays at once and get punished. And I know from talking with Masu like right before today, you know, he kind of said, hey, we really worked on communication, making sure that we all are on the same page, because this is a team that is skilled. And when they are on the same page, it can be beautiful to watch. Like fights like this, I mean, everyone is going in synced up. They blow up 3 instantly. We also saw FlyQuest. I know that they dropped 0-2 to MU, but they also, to me, had one of the most impressive ends to a game. Look at how fast they end from this game state against Wildcard, a team that is very strong in this league. This is from last week as well. So we did see FlyQuest pushing too hard against Mariable to drop a game, but here, and they choke out Wildcard and play this wonderfully as they ended this game in 22 minutes. So I think that, like, for me, we've just seen a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde from FlyQuest, and I just want to see this team really arrive at the standard that I have for them a little bit more often, because when they are on the same page, this is a good League of Legends team. It's just sometimes they get a little bit lost in the sauce, aren't on the same page, and they get punished for that.
And they are decisive, right? Like, that has been a key structure for FlyQuest Challengers. They can end games off of one team fight because they are all working together towards that goal, and it is just choosing those moments correctly.
Look, if there's anything I've learned making content for this show, it's that you can't have all hits all the time, actually. So you're gonna have some of those misses in there, but at least they do pull the trigger fast and they are committing to the play. We compare that now to Disguise, their opposition on the Rift here. And Kevin, I'm gonna give it back to you again, because I know that you were the one really trying to hammer in this point of how this team plays, specifically through the lens of their jungler.
I think that Disguised oftentimes runs on the engine that is Tomio, and again, that is for better or worse. So here, Tomio, a little bit of an oopsie cue, it gets them in trouble, and Disguise end up falling in this fight. But then other times we see Tomio take great skirmishes. Tomio is still someone that, you know, we've always kind of been like, hey, when he's on and he's taking good fights, we know that Tomio has the hands to actually pull this off. It's just, you know, can Tomio continue to consistently make calls? Like, this is a really good one. E.g., we're trying to set up for a top play. They actually cut off Ryoma in this one, and then also this play against FlyQuest from the first time they went toe-to-toe, going 1-1. Good to see Tomio, you know, get the fight started, and some good follow-up from Fake God. So I think that we have seen good moments from Tomio and FlyQuest, or Disguise, I should say. I just want to see them, again, continue to take consistently better fights, because this is a team that, frankly, having 3 defending champions sitting at 11-7, I don't want to say by any means it's a disappointing first-round robin, but I think that Disguise is going to look to be more dominant in the second-round robin.
They absolutely are. I think you look at a lot of the strength, the experience behind the roster. I know you were lauding about Fake God earlier on in the show, but this roster is built for success.
It's built for success, and I mean that there's a lot of pressure on the players. Even talking with a player like Fake God last week when we got burgers with him, check out that episode if you haven't yet. He talks a little bit about that. So let's see if the pressure mounts for Disguise further, or if they can topple FlyQuest Challengers, their opposition today. I'm going to send it over to the casters because Pick and Ban is ready for game 1.
Hi, I'm Casters. We're here. We got sent. We are into game 1 of our second series of the day. Now, DSG on the blue side, to see what they want to prioritize. I expect a lot of the similar stuff that we've seen just floating around the meta. A lot of those high-profile carries being taken off. This is one that we were talking about last series because of the importance it has to Arrow, but if Aphelios is the first ban from DSG, FlyQuest on the red side ban away the Renekton.
Moss is 4-2 on the champ this split as well. And hey, taking away Fake God's Renekton, no surprise there. As for me, Disguise, they've actually been our best early game team statistically that we've had in Challengers League. I think a lot of their comps they're drafting for priority, and something I've really liked from Disguise of late, actually it's the Sejuani comps, as it opens up for Young to play some more melees that we know that Young can perform on. So seeing FlyQuest deny that, they've done a little bit of their homework. I like that.
I would love to see some more of this honing of the edge, though. That Kindred ban, the Nico ban by DSG, it is that Sejuani from FlyQuest. So something we saw, again, Odd Orange pilot to a lot of success in early advantageous jungle trades.
Should be
you
a
get
Vi.
the LeBlanc ban here.
I think it's going to be a Vi, or you can try and split up the Zyre Rakan or set up for that. But we have seen Tomio play a good amount of Vi this split. This isn't a pick that's huge for Yuji. So we'll see what kind of answer he has. And jungle, of course, a lot of picks that are playable right now in the jungle. As, okay, no Vi. It's a change of pace. It's a new patch, a new identity for Disguised. Going to be that Ivern coming up front of the forest.
The how it looks when we saw Mir on it earlier today. Now Tomio taking his hand at it. We do get that lovers duo though for Masu and Winsome. I think giving them safety, also giving Winsome a lot of tools is huge.
And Disguise, they now have the ability to match bot lanes or take priority elsewhere, as actually Azir, a bit of a takeaway from Spyrax. The Spyrax, known for his Azir play throughout his career, on a pick that I think that Young is really trying to level up on. We know Young for the melees, but it is good to see Young sometimes have that control mage play. I think Azir has been decent so far to start off the split, and still really fits into that identity for Disguise, which is a lot of early lane priority.
I'd be really, really curious to see how the first phase ends up panning out. I've been really appreciating Azir's rise in the meta. It doesn't feel like old Azir, where it was Azir Korki every single game of that meta. It does feel like Azir has a lot more options available to him. We actually see the Jax locked in here too, so a lot of side lane pressure and split push pressure given to DSG.
Yeah, interested what choice FlyQuest makes here. I would like to see them lock in jungle, as I think that Faisal has a few options. He does still like to play the Gragas. You could match the Cassante if you really wanted to, and then of course Malphite is a pick that into Ivern, you don't really have that pop that you're looking for in terms of damage, but Malphite is something that can try to neutralize the Jax. So some options. We'll see if FlyQuest, or I should say Disguise, commits any bans to actually taking away any of those options for Faisal. And curious what Disguise ends up taking away here from the mid lane pool. I would like a Syndra ban maybe for Spyrax, just to try and take away some of the options. I really like the Jace ban given that Malachi is showing. So a couple things that Disguise can maybe try and take away.
God hate that combo. Every time you get to see the Malachi Jace together, it just feels so constricting. We did get that Varus ban though by FlyQuest, so trying to target out Meech a little bit, maybe take away some of these crazy 2v2 bot lanes, as the Rel also taken away from Zeyzal.
I like that Rel ban, as it's very playable into Rakan. Still some options for Zeyzal, as really wouldn't be surprised if Kai'Sa Nautilus is the answer. I think something that goes in to kind of help take advantage of those Ivern shields could not be bad, as 80 options continue to be taken away from Spyrax, as that is a Yone ban as well. So if Spyrax wants something like the Syndra, some of the disengage, I think Syndra scaling is really nice. You can at least try and peel and set up Xayah for feathers, as see what DSG wants to do. As okay, Triss still on the board on their 80 option. I think that's fine this game too.
A little bit of that double marksman cup. Feels like we're getting a lot of dips into that here as of recently. And FlyQuest, while they'll need a lot of setup for it, are set up for success in the late game sections.
See if Nautilus is the call for Zeyzal. I really think it's Nautilus, just because you can get creative with the Tristana, at least the dredge line. It's really hard to buffer that, as there are 2 tugs from Nautilus. You can't buffer that depth charge, but actually going to be a different call here, as it will be the Milio for the side of Disguise. That means that Meech likely to go for something that has a little bit more range to it. Could see something like a Jinx even here, as that would be a really big backline for Disguise. I want to try and set up for that.
That would be pretty crazy and give Meech a lot of tools in the team fights as well. Every time I feel like I cursed myself every time I see Milio pick, no matter where it is. Oh, we get the combo. I don't even get to talk about that, because we get the tried and true combo that came through when Milio first hit the scene, and it actually makes it through, something we haven't seen much of.
Okay, I gotta say, this is a new one. It will be the Gragas answer to the Jax. Not surprised, as that is Faisal's most played. Do want to focus on that Kog'Maw though. Kog'Maw with Milio, I mean, when you pop W on each of these champions, your power in the lane at that moment is so damn strong. So that's going to be the game plan here for the side of the bot lane of Disguised, as whenever the W's up for both Milio and Kog'Maw, you just pop that, walk forward. Really tough for Xayah Rakan to do anything against it.
There's really not a lot you can do, but the double marksman comp, maybe trying to up in that 2v1 situation. You have 2 carries versus 1, but you also have a lot of strength from the solo lanes of DSG. I'm really looking at Tomio though. Got to be pretty proactive on this Ivern to get farm going for himself, get a lot of that control that we saw Mir actually have on the Ivern in his game, and also on Yuji, who kind of needs to be that bridge at this point, needs to get the vision control around objectives, needs to make sure that his double marksman composition isn't getting far behind.
First Kog'Maw we're seeing in Challengers League this split from Meech is both him versus Masu. Should be a fun matchup. 2 marksmen we have up and coming in the space, as curious to see who gets the best of the other today.
We're getting into it now. We're about to find out, as mechanics are all on the test today. We got Disguised versus FlyQuest Challengers. See who's cursing who at the end of this best of 2.
Oh, heads up. I could see a little bit of a play made on the Fake God as FlyQuest fishing around to maybe get a ward. But Winsome can attack here with Faisal. Please have a ward to hop out.
Is he gonna get away? Can he walk away? He can leap strike. All right, he's out. I didn't want to make the noise because like he's getting out of this. There's no way he's not. Will be a little bit of pressure on a Fake God early. He does get the reset off fast enough.
Honestly, a really clever play though from FlyQuest because not only do they get Jax to start leap strike, but they also give Faisal the ward kill, so he will hit level 2 on that first wave. Won't need that bonus creep, which should enable him to push this matchup even harder in favor of FlyQuest. So I really like that opener. I think it's really clever from the side of Fly.
Make sure you're spamming in chat. Who you think's going to take this dub? DSG for Disguise, FlyC for FlyQuest Challengers. A lot of Disguise members out there. See if that helps them in any shape or form. Tomio starting on his top side as well as a top side interest, at least thus far, for UG as well.
I continue to like this for FlyQuest because when you have a match path against an Ivern, especially one that is scouted, as FlyQuest was able to do, as there was a ward drop to see where Ivern's starting, this makes it really tough for Ivern to do what we saw in that last game, Azelle, which is prep 3 camps, walk in, and smite one away from your enemy. So Tomio will be forced to just stick to his own camps here, as he's likely to smite that red and then work his way backwards to make sure he's picking up the rest of those.
All about that early pathing, both these junglers. That is not necessarily the big ticket focus. I feel like on both sides there are one spotlight apiece, and it has been on Fake God for Disguise and Masu inside of Fly. And I think Fake God really has, I know you mentioned earlier, just found so much creativity but strength in his confidence in top lane matchups as well.
It was really clever there. The Q into the blast cone to take the wolves from Tomio, speeding up that Ivern clear.
Yeah, that's what I saw Kanavi do last night as well. It's just so dirty.
Have seen some min-maxing there. I'd really like to see that out of our players. As Tomio's going to lock down another one.
And all of a sudden he's caught up. Just like that. It's an Ivern.
All right, watch the turn here.
Though, a little bit of trouble.
Ooh.
Have some safety from Zazel though. A nice little 2v2 from FlyQuest bot lane early on. Spyrax going for an early trade on Young as well. Does get the explosive charge off.
Well done here, as FlyQuest win that out on the bot lane trade, as there was no ward in that rush. So Kog'Maw going to take advantage of the W's. And priority here for the side of FlyQuest is usually going to wrap up that full clear and likely look for that bot crab. As you can already see, Tomio, he's wrapping all the way around. He's going to give up the fight for that one. And it will be full clears for the junglers early. We'll say some of the scaling as we go forward in this one, Mazel. Fake God, of course, in this Gragas versus Jax matchup. You went out on the side lane later as the Jax. That's where you can make a big difference. And against the double marksman comp, will have value with that dodge, of course. Likely to be the person receiving the majority of the Ivern shields, too, in that front line. But
the real question, Cubby, and all the analysis needs to come after this statement is, who's the better tree?
Oh, I mean...
Because Ivern versus Maokai is just 2 trees fighting. And I said it last night at LPL, but, you know, Lord of the Rings fans in shambles here as you see the Ents fight, as we're going to get them fighting each other.
We'll say the LCK has been calling this the Fanghorn Forest matchup. I'm a big fan of that. That's,
it is a good
very
one.
Clever. But Tomio does
But you didn't answer the question.
The better tree?
Yeah, the better tree.
I'll take the Vern.
Do you have a reasoning, or is it just, you know, bold-faced?
Yeah, I think Vern forces Maokai to go full tank instead of that demonic build.
As actually went with analysis.
Yeah, that's me.
I was gonna think you were going like, oh, he has long legs, he has more mobility than Maokai. Oh, okay.
He protects the forest and doesn't kill it. How about that?
I see. Maokai's evil at this point from the Shadow Isles. I mean, he technically is in all actuality. But anyways, I like your analysis because you do have to center on that kind of play style. We were focusing early about the pathing for both these two, but that matchup is so important for dividends that both teams want paid.
Could be a big difference later with the support. Maokai does bring a lot of engage to try and force on DSG, but also a lot of peel for this double marksman core. As FlyQuest will use that first to wrap up this second clear, take an early dragon in their favor. It's Masu Was able to base first. Picks up that pull. Not bad. Tomio, I don't think he's going to get in and take this one away. I think he's just going to be going over to the side of Fly.
You won't, Tomio. You won't. Do it.
Oh.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Come on. Tree battle. Who's going to win Fanghorn Forest? Okay, Yuji won this one. As Tomio doesn't really have a way out, but does have a fighting potential. Has that flash that he ends up having to burn.
Forest was flipped. Do we save
Evil
the dragon or do we
wins
kill
on
it?
this day.
The dragon died. I feel like that really is the Lord of the Rings thing. You know, the dragons would be there. They were at one point in Middle Earth.
Smaug.
Yeah, you know, he was the last of the great ones.
Mm-hmm. Go down a whole. We need to pull Kangas in here and just get a whole Lord of the Rings talk session going on.
Well, let's leave him on the side. It'll torture him. That's
I will actually. That's even better. I love it. He's gonna end up coming into my room and start talking. Anyways, I don't want to give him ideas, so we'll keep moving. The thing is, though, you are still looking at the double marksman comp with Fyrax and Masu, and I do still want to see some proactivity from DSG. While they have a late game win condition, Feed the Puppy is always there. Meech is going to have to pilot this one in 12.
Nice trade here for Spyrax on Young. Yeah, I mean, curious to see what Meech can do, but at the moment we have to see what FlySol can do, as that cast did not create enough space.
It did not. We got the flash, though. The follow-up is there, and first blood should go to Disguise. Fake God, the top of the top lane and top of this game.
Fake God continues to be so impressive this split, man. I know we were kind of setting up the bot lane, but Fake God, Jax, it's the second most played. He is leading top laners in laning stats. I know he's had a lot of Renekton games, but also I think Fake God's just been damn solid at whatever he's piloting on the Rift, as he has been a very consistent performer for Disguised and continues to find leads on his own and with the help of some of his friends. This Jax can get out of control later in the side lane. That's a really good start for Disguise, putting gold in a place where, yeah, Jax can team fight, but also if things get wayward for Disguise, you can always put him in a side lane and things feel pretty good there too.
You really do, and especially that you've already gotten a pretty big advantage for yourself in that side lane. It just makes the decision-making of DSG that much easier. You will get resets coming out for majority members. We actually see, though, that Yuji taking a little bit of preemptiveness to get that Scuttle Crab, hovering over the Rift Herald and starting it up.
Young is chunked and does not have access to TP. So with Fake God off the reset from that last kill, this should go over to the side of FlyQuest for free. So good macro from FlyQuest to make sure they pick up the first two neutral objectives. As just doing this off of some base timers. Even though that top lane solo kill did go to the side of Disguise, at least FlyQuest able to answer something back.
You know what I'm realizing now as well? It's just an alpaca dip.
Alpaca dip?
He's got the world skin with the little alpacas. So cute. A lot of DRX love there as well. But speaking of love, got to give some to Yuji, who in his own right, you were talking about Tomio, the possibilities he does have. The Mongolian monster, man. Yuji, an insane presence for FlyQuest over this last term, and especially a lot of the growth we've seen from him individually, not only in his decision-making, his champ pull, and the way that he leads this team, it feels like.
Yuji is someone that, for us, continues to make better decisions and improve in his time in Challengers. But I'm kind of curious to have him go up against Tomio, because these are two players that started playing in Challengers at rather similar times. Tomio sneaking in the back half of 21 Summer, having his first full split, where, you know, Yuji was at here in 22. So I do think that it's always kind of fun seeing these guys go head to head. As for me, Yuji's been a player that's always been a rather strong jungler in the league. And Tomio, you know, finds himself on a very winning team, and I think is started to have the play in the last couple of splits to kind of step up to what some of his teammates have done. As of course on that Cloud9 roster. From top to bottom, that roster was pretty stacked. But Tomio comes into the back half. I mean, he was the least experienced member, and by the end of the split, he was playing. I mean, he was the MVP of finals. He played really, really well in that series. So good to see Tomio continue to level up. As unfortunately for me, I was wrong about the Yuji build. He went Demonic Embrace.
He did. I've been seeing a lot more of that as well. So
I like it, and I think it fits the identity of Malachi well. I wanted to see tank here because I just don't think Demonic Embrace matters into Ivern. You're just going to get shields wherever those saplings hit. Yeah, it brings you some control, but I'd rather have the full tank to make sure that you're able to peel the way that you have to do. As this guy's continuing to try and play up towards Fake God on this top side. Daisy comes down and FlySol is running for the hills.
Ooh, not going to connect though,
Still
but
fine.
Daisy does. And FlySol going to have to use that cast. Rift Herald got spawned up in mid lane, should be helping Spyrax get a couple more plates.
Opposite Spyrax has been able to play this lane rather well. It's 2 plates secured on his own and another 2 with the help of Shelly. As Young has been on the back half. Just find a nice trade though in the Spyrax here.
Got the Moonstone completed for Tomio as we are looking at first items completed. We get the Everfrost for FlySol, but first Dragon already taken by FlyQuest. They'll opt into taking a second one as well.
Makes sense, as there's likely to be a Shurelya's from Zeyzal, which just means that this Kog'Maw might be a thick. This might be like the return of Juggermaw, man.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I'm theory crafted here. You've got Milio shields and range. Yeah, there's no Lulu, but then you have the Vern too. It might be frontline Meech.
And
That's what I'm feeling.
Jax is the fork and Azir's the spoon. Right? You just feed Meech.
Oh, we're just gonna scoop people into Meech. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We're just gonna scoop them.
Yeah.
You stab them with Fake God, and you scoop them with Young. Though the fork might find a little bit of presence here with Tomio continuously hovering over FlySol.
this is the game plan for DSG. Just continue to attack this Gragas to make sure Jax is set up for success as Meech.
The dragons are coming!
Oh,
Okay, they get the double connect there, but they are still under tower, and Yuji's tanking up a storm right now.
yeah.
Into the 2v3. It's actually FlyQuest who come out on bottom.
I'm
That makes it a little bit better.
surprised that Winsome didn't burn Flash to guarantee a combo from Rakan, because I feel like they had numbers and it's winnable if he does that. But when that doesn't connect, it gets tough.
Not gonna see anything much more in this top side matchup. Yeah, that Kraken Slayer diff could have been the difference for Masu on the bottom side. But we also have that Static Shiv in mid lane completed for Spyrax, so some wave clear on top of wave clear, and the Leandri's opt in for Young. I've actually been seeing a lot of Azirs go with the crown depending on the style of composition coming through, but I actually really, really like the Leandri's here.
I like Crown, but there's not too many things that can poke it off.
Exactly.
So I think going up against the Maokai Saps, maybe, or also Xayah does a pretty good job of taking that away. It's enough to make sure that it's a Leandri's instead. So more soldiers and some burned on the auto attack now for Young. Will be the switch up, but I gotta say, off that failed play bot from the side of FlyQuest, Meech got 2 plates for himself. That's a big deal on this Kog'Maw, as a lot of this game does fall onto Meech and what he can do with the Kog'Maw. He will be so strong once this Rage Blade is finished. You have level 9. You can also keep on stacking points into the Q2 to just get bonus attack speed from your kit. I really feel like Kog'Maw is strong at this point of the game, and I want to see how much Meech can push the paces at the moment.
Nice flash from Meech and getting all the damage onto Masu. And in this matchup, man, I was so hyped to see these two go against each other. Masu has been the one in the stars, it feels like, over this last split into this one. Masu, the Wi-Fi wizard, the man that has made everything change for FlyQuest in the bottom lane. But Meech was that tried and true mechanical outplay ADC when he was over on CLG, and I'm so happy to see him on DSG here paired up with Zeyzal.
You know, Zeyzal, still working with Meech on really improving and evolving that laning phase, where I think Meech does have to make the most improvements, but we do love Meech when he's able to space on some of these marksmen, as I feel like he spaces really well. So Kog'Maw definitely one where, with all the buffs he's going to have, can really take advantage of that. And we'll see if Meech is up to the task this game, as of course, we mentioned it before, no one's played Kog'Maw yet in Challengers, so Meech going to do it first, and we'll see if he makes the pick worth it.
Yeah, that Rift Herald started up by DSG. A lot of pressure given from top lane, and Spyrax in the mid lane getting pressed out. Masu looking to take the side lane tower here himself. That will be something that DSG can utilize to break down their own outer towers with this Rift Herald.
Kind of an odd rotation here from DSG, as they drop 2 waves bot and a turret for the second Rift Herald. I actually don't really like this play, as all this gold going into Masu funnel, I think is nice for the side of FlyQuest. Also, taking Jax away from that Gragas matchup that he was pounding on his own. So I think FlyQuest making some smart calls there to drop the Herald to make sure that gold's still going where you want it to go in Masu, Mazel. And as you set up, we're excited to see Masu versus Meech. Meech has an entire team comp built around him, and Masu now has some bonus gold he was able to pick up. So could see some fireworks, yeah.
Not fair, man. It's just, you know, you look across, you're like, wait, I have to split the ADC position with Spyrack. That's not actually how it goes, because the double marksman comp, once it hits those 3 item spikes, is terrifying. We said we wanted UG and the rest of FlyQuest to really be a bridge, and now we're 16 minutes in. Feels like they're starting to build that bridge tried. As 10 seconds till another dragon, this could be sole point for them.
DSG have the 4-1 setup, but Fake God can't shove any further mid. As a good step down there from Masu, as we'll have a little bit of a coke war going on over. And heads up from Meech, whenever you hear that W go off or see the campfire from Milio, that's when Meech can step up. And all the buffs from Milio will be onto him, as Milio W does not grow the range of soldiers from Young. So...
Man, I got to cast the Uzi Vayne last night. Now I get to cast the Cogpaw here for Meech. This is awesome. It is all eyes on Meech for DSG, but now FlyQuest, their eyes are on this dragon. They want to try to get this soul point. They got to deal with Fake God on the flank. They got to find a way in, because now the Rift Herald has been spawned as a distractionary tool in mid lane.
God is getting ran out, but they find Winsome. He should be able to force Winsome out. Winsome
Quickness,
has to go.
engage. Ooh, Buster shot from Spyrax actually pushes him out, and Zazel gets caught out because the rest of his team is on the other side. That's sole point for FlyQuest.
Well done from Spyrax, opening up a lot of space so that Zazel just melts, but see if they can get back into mid. Meech doesn't have the million. Oh, Fake God.
Ooh, Fake God going straight in. The Feather Storm used by Masu. Spyrax able to get a decent amount of poke on the backside, and you start seeing where this damage potential comes alive for FlyQuest.
3 dragons for them is going to feel really good too. You have double marksman. You can drop a couple dragons if you need to. If you need to get items for them to scale. But at the moment, no scaling needed for the side of Fly, as that was a nice force out. And in a slow game, FlyQuest, their macro has been good. And I know from talking with Masu, you know, they dropped some games this past week. O2 to Maryville, when they had both games won at some point, was a bit disappointing. And Masu said, hey, just focus a lot and make sure our communication improved and we are on the same page as a team. At times, they've been lacking. We could see it in the games, but Masu's saying it as well in the team. And sure, it looks like this past week doing FlyQuest some wonders, as this game 1's been nice and clean from them.
I will say I just saw UG sell the little shield in his inventory and buy the Kindle Gem. Maybe changing up the build path, realizing they need to change it up here to make sure that they can press this advantage a little bit more. You do see Daisy connect here. Meech trying to step up. Not the time just yet, young one. We're still building the big Kog'Maw that you will be in the future. Tries to step up, though. Steps up a little too far, and the rest of FlyQuest pounce on him, and he's gone. Just like that. The snap of the finger from FlyQuest, and DSG are on the back foot. Zazel just getting blown out of the water by Spyrax.
You don't have ghosts in this Kog'Maw, buddy. You got heal and flash and barrier. And stepping into a Recon W, not the kind of play you want to make this game. As FlyQuest, they just take the freebies, man. It's 2 free kills over them. I don't know, like, Meech doesn't have W up. He just walks way too far up here. Like, it's not great, Mazel.
Your tone.
No, it's disappointing.
You're just like,
It's disappointing.
It is disappointing, man.
Oh,
We were setting up the mechanics of this guy, that he's got a little bit of give back, maybe a chip on his shoulder now after he falls. And you got to get back on the map. You got to get right back to it. Dust the dust off your shoulder and find a way to crack into this double marksman comp who's going to be looking better and better as time goes on. That gold on the side, that's like, if you draft 2 marks, that's like beautiful. You frame that. You take that and you put it up on your wall or your fridge, whichever one you want.
I'm going to prefer the fridge, as it's for the whole family to see, you know? Where you put your wins. You know what we have on our fridge here?
I do know what you have on your fridge, but you could tell it.
A Josh Warhammer victory.
Let's go!
Yeah, that's... Celebrate the dubs, you know?
Shout out to Josh, the best, I think the best Josh in Warhammer in the world. Or maybe second, I don't know, one of the two. But we do see Spyrax trying to be the best Spyrax he can be in the side lane. Already sitting at 2-0, does take that outer tower. DSG forming up around mid, trying to push FlySol out here with Tomio.
40 until that soul is available for FlyQuest. As you can see, DSG putting some extra resources. They're really just letting Tristana go to work top, which, as per usual, that turret melts uncontested. And DSG don't pick up that wave.
Wait, he rebought it.
Take that gold for free. No worries.
UG rebought the item that he sold.
It was just a misclick. Just an oopsie, you know?
Anyways, we do get a tower taken out there. And luckily, they're able to get something for themselves out on the map. And that mid lane defensive outer is actually pretty huge for them in terms of decision making. He did have a tier 2 taken straight away by Spyrax, and that is the power of a split pushing Tristana at this point.
And it's going to force Young to answer on that wave, so he will be showing, and this means that FlyQuest can take full control over the bot side river for Dragon, which is Soul on the map available for them here in 40 seconds. So FlyQuest playing the map really well here in this first game, Azelle.
Can you imagine giving an Infernal Soul to this squad, this team right now as well? There's a bit of a timer now coming up. We did get the redemption locked in for Tomio. So you have at least a little bit of something, but a back needs to come through, resets need to come out, and vision needs to be had by DSG.
I think that barrel, we saw Fake God basing, so Young does get that wave in pretty deep in the top side. We'll be bouncing back towards them, so I can catch that after, but while that was all going on, FlyQuest got full control over the Dragon. Sundisk spawn for Young, but Meech can't really walk in here, as it's really good angles from Fly.
Yeah, I was going to say, Spyrax just gets caught there a bit
unfortunate. Can't even walk in, man. It's Maokai. It's so tough.
The alpacas are doing work right now. The spacing that they have in FlySol. There's the engage with the wild growth coming through. It is the Dragon secured by FlyQuest. That is the Infernal Soul, and it's a front to back now, potentially with a flank for Spyrax, who already took down Meech. Fake God's a little bit low. They find him, though. They actually catch out Spyrax, but do they really? Because he's spacing them like a god! And that's 2 kills over, maybe a third, fourth rather, for Spyrax. He won't get the penta, and Fake God will pull out an escape. But what a fight. That was literally a flank from a Tristana, man.
I mean, Meech goes down first without using Flash again. He didn't have the Flash available when he went down first the last time, but if your Cogmaw's dying first in this composition, you're not going to win any fight as Fake God...
Giving them a run for their money here.
Yeah,
that will just be the Infernal Soul dip.
What a game coming out of FlyQuest. I mean, I know last week they had some disappointments against Maryville, but really looks like this week, to help them clean some things up, as Fake God, he's just trying to force, he knows this Dragon's pretty much dead. Tomio wasn't able to get in there and smite it, and then all the cast was beautiful from FlySol as Meech eats that. The ult from Milio not enough. Spyrax able to take him down, gets over the Shurima shuffle from Young too.
He literally just walked up, said, yo, what up? What are you gonna do about me? Wow, what a fight. And we were talking about decisiveness from FlyQuest coming to this one. This has been a decisive game, number 1.
It's been a beautiful game from FlyQuest, man. I mean, it's been controlled really start to finish. Like, yes, DSG found leads in the top side, but this Cogbomb pick not working out anywhere near to where FlyQuest wanted this to work out to. As that was a beautiful cast from FlySol, who was set behind in this game, but good to see him showing up in the team fights, as he does tend to do. And FlyQuest Challengers looking to put the finishing touches on a good one, as Meech going to get attacked again. That's the flash out.
No, you don't have any way out, and Meech goes down to a killing spree to FlySol. Spyrax finally gets caught. Winsome and Monster getting very low on the bottom side. You did get that shutdown over to DSG. They got actually trying to follow this one up, though. They have a decent amount of follow through with that redemption as well. And UG just gives his life to get FlySol out of there. Fake God gets the kill as well.
Maybe a little bit of that indecision from FlyQuest coming on out, as DSG able to pick up a few stragglers. I think FlyQuest overplayed their hand by a bit there, as still FlyQuest, and they got a minute left on this Baron. Honestly, disappointing for them, as they will have trouble now cleaning up that last inner turret, which they really wanted. But they should have control of the map in time for this Elder to spawn. So I know it's only 3 minutes away. I don't know if FlyQuest can siege down without having Baron at all.
Oh,
They're going to try, though.
Trying to go with the premier member of DSG is Fake God. Gunned down here, and the kill goes to Spyrax.
Well, that helps. That's at least one off the board. Mazel, that's probably going to be the inner falling as well, as they got some Baron up creeps, but this wave will have one more to play with. They only have one more wave after this, though. We'll see if they can actually crack the inhibitor line. I don't think they can.
You take it pretty quick with the combo of Masu and Spyrax. They're going to try. It might be an overextension, but they are going to eventually siege down. Yuji is on his way through mid lane. You see Spyrax playing a little bit less confident here. Rocket jumping away. It should mean FlyQuest move out, but they actually get a catch out on Faisal. And nice again, rude. One by one, they actually catch them out. And actually, FlyQuest, this might have been a bait the whole time. It's a ruse! Run away! Oh no, DSG! Ah! Big ulti there from Young, but it does not matter. The trap has been sprung, and FlyQuest are dominating game one.
Can't run away from nature's grasp, man, and DSG, they can't run away from fate, as this game has been all FlyQuest from the start. First push, a little bit of an overextension this time around. It's a bait.
They're going to find Fake out as well. He does end up getting out there with a nice leap strike. They are dwindling minions here. They still should have enough to take down this first Nexus tower. That is it, though. They will have to back away, but damage is already done.
Some restraint from FlyQuest, too. Good to see after last week, Vazel.
Yeah, I'd say so. As we're going to get a replay of that one. Faisal bought so much time here.
This angle from UG is pretty damn good, as Young does get a 5-man shuffle, but to no avail, as he already went down. Spyrax. He dies to the Kog'Maw, as that passive being used well.
That's not something you remember much of. I don't get to see that often.
I mean, it's good use of passive, no?
Yeah, for sure. You know what else that's a good use is when you give a bunch of gold to 2 marksman carries, and especially Spyrax on the Tristana. It's in at 14,100, almost like 2.5, 3K over the next highest. Really impressive step up from Spyrax, who I feel like hasn't necessarily had all the step ups you'd ask for, but it's FlyQuest stepping up to knock DSG out of the park in game one.
This Gragas has just made Kog'Maw's life hell, as Meech.
Yep.
No flash from that last fight. And Meech gets to use that passive again, unfortunately. FlyQuest trying to make sure this game goes in their favor. They have to be careful. Elder is up. They don't want to overextend for that.
Got the Emperor's Divide from Young, just trying to push him back. Fake God tries to go through, but the Buster Shot's used. Now Spyrax stepping forward with the rocket jumps here. He's going to try to get the resets, but it's just Fly trying to focus on the inhib as they make their escape now. Spyrax almost taking down Tobio there with that bomb. Not going to be enough with that shield coming through. FlyQuest turn onto what is now a big, scary Elder Dragon.
Brush line is enough to dissuade them, as supers will be pouring in from each. FlyQuest gonna show some more restraint. They're gonna reset. Get a TP from Fake God.
All right, I like it. Masu and Spyrax playing pretty aggressively here.
And here comes the flip. Why not?
50-50, do you like burgers? We're getting close to July 4th as now the Wild Growth comes through. That is Winsome already taken out of the fight, but Spyrax has rejoined as Faisal separating the rest of the members. The cast comes through, and it does not matter what you do if you're disguised, because you'll just go down over and over again. That's every single member down. Not a clean ace, but an ace all the less for FlyQuest Challengers.
Faisal Island, man. Fake God got ahead, but boy, oh boy, did he make good use of those casks later into the game, Mazel, as props to the solo laners here for FlyQuest Challengers, and also props to Winsome, man, for really dictating this game. I know a couple of those engages might have not all 100% connected cleanly, but I think he was taking engages at a really good time for FlyQuest, set them up for success, and a rather clean victory from FlyQuest over Disguised.
The curse has no bounds here to FlyQuest. Really impressive stuff from them in game one, and it was just about, from draft, knowing the execution needed and finding that execution. We'll see if DSG can have a bit of a bounce back, but before we do, we're going to take a break, and then we'll have the Rally Cry halftime show. But before then, you have to know that LCS Challengers is brought to you by Turo. And especially if you're looking for cars, if you're looking for anything to get your ride going, make sure you're checking out Turo. They are the world's largest car sharing marketplace where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. You go photo shoot, you can go on a day trip, you can just have a cool car that you want to look at. Forget your boring rental cars and try Turo. We'll see you on the other side of this break for the halftime.